All set.
Great. All right, so I'll call the order the meeting of the FinCom for Wednesday, August 31st at 7 o'clock. The first order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from the 20th of July. Did everybody get a chance to read those?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions about those or anything they want to discuss?
Motion to approve, Chris?
Second.
Josh, you get that?
Yep. Eric,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Rig,
Aye.
MJ.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Perfect. Next thing on the agenda is public comment. I do not see anybody on from the public, but I don't want to assume that there is nobody. So I'll just open it for public comment. Not hearing any. New business. There's one order for us to act on tonight. It's order O FY22-008, which is the capital leasing obligations. Tony, you mind giving the team just a quick update on this one?
Sure. Each year when we issue our capital improvement program and we put in our capital order, we fund as part of that process the first lease payment. So we make commitments to the payment and using financing. It's a lease to own. It's a dollar buyout. So essentially it's a lease to own. It's not like a traditional lease that you would think of on a vehicle where, you know, you turn the lease back in. This is, in all cases here, we own this equipment or these, and the fire engine, the ambulance, we own them at the final lease payment. And so each year what we're doing to ensure we have the funds for the subsequent payment, we're doing it early in the year so that because a number of these leases may come due during the course of the year at different times, and we want to meet our financial obligations. So when you essentially vote for the first lease payment, you're voting that the town will commit to, unless for some reason we're unable to pay, all the other lease payments. So this is in fact an order to fund the existing leases that we have for the various equipment.
Perfect. And the funding, the capital stabilization trust fund was set up for this specific purpose, right?
That is correct. That's one of the uses of that fund, correct?
And one of the uses on the ambulance RRA is to fund some ambulance needs and things along that nature as well, historically.
Out of all the forecasting for the revenue and the required funding coming out of that ambulance receipts for reserve for appropriation fund is operating budget and lease payments for the ambulances. That's correct.
Perfect. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
I'll open it up to committee members to see if they have any questions for Tony.
So Tony, I noticed there's a good chunk of these are pretty much close to or at the end of their leases. So after these payments are made, there's no more payments to be made on them, correct?
Yes, but for instance, we have a replacement program for ambulances, and so we would then be considering leasing the next ambulance to replace an ambulance in the fleet. So you could see A1 or A2, depending upon where they fit in the replacement schedule, show up on the next capital improvement program. That's just an example. But the fire engine is an example to your point. I think MJ is that that engine will last for 10, 15 years, right? And so that last payment next year will meet our obligation, and we'll have no other payments until we need to replace that engine for.
And do we know how, Tony, how if it's 4 out of 5, I mean, how long do we lease them 5 out, half the time? Like if it's good for 10 years, it's a 5-year thing? Like what is the term of how
No,
long ago did we purchase it? I can't recall, I guess is the question.
it would have been roughly 4 years ago.
Okay, so it's 4 out of 5 years. That's what I'm saying. So we lease them for practically half of the expected life.
Yeah, that's conservative too, for instance, the
Okay.
engine. On the ambulance, it's a little different. It's really a way to manage your cash flow. So you wouldn't have to outlay $380,000 in one order. So what we found is we could stack a number of ambulances that maybe have a 6-year life, possibly a 7. They're not going to go longer than that because of the running hours and in fact the mileage, but it allows you to stack multiple replacements at the same time, and you work it in a cash flow that will be between 67 and maybe 100 and let's just say 70, $140 a year if you had two ambulances being replaced. So you'll see all of that when you get the fall capital improvement program, and I'll point that out when we get there so we can see how that kind of lays out, and hopefully that will answer your question. So it does depend on the item, Julie.
Right.
The tasers will last 10 to 15 years. The Freightliner, we're on lease payment 5. That Freightliner will last 15 to 20 years. So, but then it gives us an opportunity to look at what other equipment that we could then potentially lease and build into a capital plan.
Thank you.
And Tony, I have a follow-up question.
Mhm.
The old high school purchase, I thought we were further along in the lease payments than what I'm seeing here on the form. It says
Nope.
it's 3 to 12, but I thought we started that more than 3 years ago.
You may have started the negotiations more than 3 years ago. You might have started that 10 years ago. But the agreement was reached, and that's where we stand. And we're putting it on here as a funding. It's basically we're financing the total amount with an annual payment that was agreed to by Rainham and the town of Bridgewater.
Yeah, MJ, if my memory serves me right, I was on the committee for a while with Michael and Tim Fitzgibbons. And right before pre-COVID, the negotiations got shut down again. It had been an ongoing discussion for 7 to 10 years. But I don't think it was approved until, I actually am surprised it's payment 3, because I would
Yeah,
guess
me too.
we were maybe a year or 2 in. So
Yeah,
that feels right to me.
Yep. That's about right.
Any other questions for Tony with regards to this order?
I had a follow-up question, but I don't know if it would be germane to the conversation tonight.
Ask it.
Shoot.
Well, it's sort of turns back on the old high school purchase. Once we pay this off, the town owns it outright. Are we obligated to keep using it as a school building, or can we use it as something else?
No, in essence, the town owns all of the schools that are strictly for Bridgewater students. They're under the control, management, maintenance, right, of the school district. But technically, well, the new school that's being built now, the town is the only one obligated to pay the bond on that. And if someday the school district was dissolved, well, the town would own the remaining debt on that, and they would own the property.
Yeah, the only instance when we would have a similar conversation to this is if we decided to deregionalize
Mhm.
and we took the existing high school that is the high school now.
Right.
Because Rainham has made some payments to it, so I'm sure there's some language about what that would look like, or we'd have to negotiate it, but
Mhm.
other than that, I think all the elementary schools and junior highs
Mhm.
are town-owned individually.
Yeah, and the assessor and our records and the recording at the registry of deeds, this property, when that purchase and sale was, when that document was signed, it's a legal binding document. And in fact, we were reimbursing Rainham because that was a property purchased for the old high school, which was a shared property, and Rainham had made a contribution to building that or updating it.
Hey, Tony, this is Rig. I'm just trying to understand and follow.
Hmm.
So our current agreement as a district is Bridgewater Rainham. So what I'm hearing is if the Rainham part of it, for whatever reason, were to dissolve, we would own the high school and maintenance and everything that, all operational costs to the high school. So it would no longer be a shared cost. Is that my
Well,
understanding?
this building here, this grounds, this parcel of land was the old high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was part of the school district, and therefore the costs associated with maintaining it, doing any major renovations, anything that the town of Rainham and town of Bridgewater through the school district purchased jointly, though that particular property is a shared property. That particular property, because it's no longer a high school, is no longer a shared property. It is now Bridgewater's. The only property that is really a shared ownership property is the regional high school.
Okay.
All the other properties that are schools in the town are technically the obligation of the town. Any debt for them for improvements is strictly the town of Bridgewater. The regional school district acts as the authority because of the way regional school districts operate, and they go out and work with our finance advisors to get borrowing, but the obligation is strictly the town of Bridgewater. We have to pay Rainham School, the Bridgewater Rainham School District to make these debt payments, but they're fully funded by the town of Bridgewater.
Okay.
Does that make sense how that regional schools district is structured?
It's a little clearer for me now.
So that particular location was dissolved out of the shared financial obligation, which did exist under the old high school, which was between Rainham and Bridgewater. So now Bridgewater is assuming responsibility for an ownership, except for, again, is governed by the school district, and it is in fact reimbursing the town of Rainham for their contribution to that asset while the school, that was the shared high school. That's all that particular component is. It was an agreement. Eric, you can maybe speak to it as being on that group.
Yeah, Greg, I'll give you two helpful pieces of information to maybe help make it a little bit clearer. When we voted on the new pre-K through 2 school, that special election was for Bridgewater only, right? We funded that $86 million bond to build that elementary school as Bridgewater only. Rainham had no financing obligations. We never talked about it with Rainham. They weren't part of it. And probably why on this school, and probably the reason MJ thinks we should be further along, is when we decided to build the new high school many years ago, probably 9-10 years ago now.
Almost 20.
Almost.
Yeah, construction was started in 2003. It finished in 2006 for the 2007 school year.
Yep.
So you see, so almost 20 years ago, we had an obligation to work with Rainham on a buyout for a property that was owned between Rainham and Bridgewater. It took that amount of time, 2007 to current, or 2019, it looks like, to actually come up with what that buyout and what that fair market value was. And we're paying it over 12 years.
Okay.
And then
Thank you.
it is fully owned by Bridgewater at this point. Rainham has nothing to do with it. We
Mhm.
just owe them money for,
Mhm.
because there's still value to that asset, right? I think is the best way to think about it.
And I'm sorry if I caused any confusion regarding control and ownership. That muddies the water. Thank you, Eric, for that. It's essentially that's what it is. Exactly what Eric said.
Any other questions for Tony with regards to this order? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Was that second?
Second.
Ray? I think the
Yeah.
second one. Thank you, Ray.
It was right.
Eric,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Chris. Chris, you on mute?
Yes.
He said yes, I heard, yeah.
Oh, okay. Rig,
Aye.
MJ,
Aye.
thank you. The motion was approved.
Excellent. The next piece of business on the agenda is old business. There's nothing listed. Did anybody have any old business?
Nope.
Okay, no, hearing no. That brings us to additional items for discussion. The only question I had for the team tonight, because one of the councilmen asked me earlier today, I think we are sitting at 8 members. Is that correct? And the only position left to be filled is the vacant seat. I believe the town manager has one open appointment. And I think that was Leah's old seat, who her term came and she didn't renew. Am I correct in saying that?
No, it was Kathleen who resigned.
Yeah, Kathleen resigned, and then
Yep.
Leah just left after term. So I don't know who, I know
So
Lee Bean, actually, I don't know.
Lee
who-
Bean replaced Leah, and then Kathleen just resigned. So we're working on getting her replaced.
Didn't
it's-
Kathleen resign before Leah didn't rerun, or no? I feel like she's been out of it longer.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, because they're from the same appointed person, right?
Well, no, so the Kathleen's appointment is from the town manager. Lee's appointment was from the town council.
Town council, okay.
Yep. So I've notified the town manager about his vacancy, and we're working on that.
That makes sense, because the councilman that brought it to me had said he thought it was a town manager appointment. And I just wanted to make sure I had my facts correct before I got back to him. So I appreciate that, Josh.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? I assume our
Yes,
next.
when's the
meeting-
next meeting?
Yeah, thank you, Julie. I was-
No, we
Thinking the
make
same
minds think
thing.
alike.
Josh, do you have the town council?
Yes. So the town council next meets on September 13th. So the soonest we would meet would be September 21st.
Okay.
And
Because
can I just,
there'll be no new business, sorry, Reg, there'll be no new
Yep.
business between now and their next meeting, because they're not meeting again until the 13th.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead, Reg, sorry about that.
no worries. My apologies as well. I actually like the new model, Josh, of actually putting the meeting on our calendars. So I just want to echo that, if we continue with that, because I know for me, it maybe I was just adding new to it, but now that it just come in my calendar, I just accept it, because I don't usually email to say, oh, I'm available for the meeting. Once I accept it, to me, I think that's sufficient enough. So I was able to do that this most recent meeting. So that's all.
Yeah, Susie had been forwarding you the calendar invites, because Susie and Chris get the calendar invites. They'd asked for that. Does anybody else, while I have everybody here, want calendar invites as well?
I'll take
Okay.
them, they are useful.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can take one, but I can tell you right now, I can't make the 21st.
And I won't be able to either, because the planning board has a meeting that night, since they meet first and third Wednesdays. And I thought our meeting cadence was second and fourth Wednesdays. I could be wrong.
I think what threw it off was the town council not meeting on the 6th.
Hmm.
So are they meeting the 13th and then the 20th as well?
I don't know. Let me just check here.
Because
I also want to know, are we ever going to meet in person?
So let me check on the calendar first about the next town council meeting date. No, I think the 13th is the only town council meeting this month.
Yeah, they have to
And
meet
then,
13th to deal with something relating to the council seats all being up for election again.
and then I think they go back to twice a month after that.
Okay.
The holiday just kind of fell on a weird, I guess.
Yeah, I also think there's an election the 6th for some reason.
Yes, yeah, there's state election.
Primary.
So,
And then as far as in-person meetings go, we're still working out the details on that. For right now, we're just focusing on virtual meetings because it seems to be easiest for everyone. Gets as many people in here as possible.
okay.
Well,
So
where
Josh,
MJ and I can't make the 21st, is there any, I don't know. I guess would we, depending on what we need to vote on, like, is there another night that, when are they meeting again? They're meeting on the 20th or they're meeting on the,
just the 13th this month, Julie.
okay, gotcha. Right,
So,
so
so
my
we
two-
could, so we could do the 21st or 28th. If we can't get a quorum for the 21st. Josh, should we just, we got Rig, Susie and Chris here. The 21st is my daughter's birthday, so it may be difficult for me as well. Does anybody else have concern with 21st? Because we could just say, let's make it the 28th. We would not be behind as long as we don't, as long as we have a quorum, right? If we have a quorum on the 28th, then we're right where we need to be. If for some reason we needed to push it, then we start to get behind the 8 ball. Rig,
Yeah, I think
Susie,
that makes sense.
I didn't know if we need to have it before the 21st, but there's nothing to vote on. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah,
Well, the
we-
soonest we could have is the 21st because we'll have referred items from the town
Gotcha.
council.
Yeah,
meeting on the
got
13th.
it.
But since there isn't, from what I can tell, there isn't a town council meeting later in the month, then I think the 28th would be fine.
Just an FYI, on the 28th, I just checked my calendar. Sorry if you hear background noise, I'm driving. It looks like my niece is getting married on the 28th.
Oh, congratulations.
A weird wedding, Wednesday wedding.
Hey, post-COVID, you got to do what you can do.
That's true.
Hey, y'all, I apologize. I got stuck in a work call. Sorry, what are we talking about for the 21st?
The
Or the
21st
28th?
or the 28th, the either day work for the next meeting for you?
Yes,
Okay. And Chris, how about
I'm
you?
good for either.
I'm fine for either.
Knowing that there's 3 no's already for the 21st, why don't we make it the 28th? That at least 5 of us are sitting here saying we can make it by then. Hopefully we'll have Lee in the fold, as well as hopefully Nate can make it and we won't have any issue with a quorum for that night. So does
Sounds
that
good.
work for everybody? Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
My best. Sorry, Noel, but congratulations to your niece, sir.
Thank you. It just came out of nowhere. So I was like, oh, okay. Thanks.
Weddings are surprise weddings.
I'm having a medical procedure done on the 21st that I can't change. So by the 28th, I should be, you won't want to see me, but you'll hear me, maybe.
The last item on the agenda is the adjournment of the meeting. So does
Motion
anybody-
to adjourn,
Motion to
Chris?
Second,
Eric,
Chris and MJ. So I.
Julie,
Hi.
Susie,
Hi.
Chris,
Aye.
Rig,
Aye.
MJ.
aye.
Thank you. The motion was approved. The meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thanks.
great
Good
night.
evening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.